All right, let's take a look at these corrections and where we're going wrong with these problems. So again, I am not going to do the corrections for you, but I will try to hint at and to explain where you're going wrong here. So in 1A, your 1B looks very good. That looks like you set it up right. You had the leg of a triangle plus the leg of a triangle equals the hypotenuse squared, and that was set up correctly. In 1A, you were trying to use Pythagorean theorem, which Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but the error that you ran into is that you did 13 squared plus 15 squared, and that is not what we have, because 13 and 15, they're not both legs, okay? 15 is the hypotenuse of the triangle. You can always tell the hypotenuse of the triangle because it's across from your 90-degree angle, and so your c squared would really be 15 squared. You would have 13 squared plus a squared, and you'd have to go about solving it that way, okay? B, like I said, is correct, so we can move on to 2. We are using sine, cosine, and tangent here. We're using regular trigonometry in 2A and in 2B. Again, it helps to remember SOHCAHTOA. And with SOHCAHTOA, it tells you, again, if it's an opposite hypotenuse, you use sine. If it's adjacent hypotenuse, you use cosine. If it's opposite adjacent, you use tangent. In this problem here, you have the 90-degree angle and your angle 40. When it's between the reference angle and the 90, that is your adjacent side. When you have it, again, the 28 is across from the 28 is across from the 90, so that is your hypotenuse. If you have adjacent hypotenuse, that is going to be cosine. So we need to set it up. And the way we do sine, cosine, tangent, regular trigonometry is going to be the cosine of your angle equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So you need to set it up, and you'll eventually be able to cross multiply and solve. Here on yours, you used sine of 40. We could not use the sine of 40, and then it looks like you did hypotenuse over adjacent. And we cannot do that. You'd have to say, again, not sine, and we don't have, sine would not go with adjacent and hypotenuse, so it just needs to be changed to something that will work out for us here, okay? Think cosine here on that one. On the next one, on B, you use the tangent of 35 times the tangent of 50 over x. That is not the way that we are going to solve this problem. It kind of looks like you were trying to do maybe the law of sines, but you replaced it with tangent. Again, this is going to be regular trigonometry where we need to use SOHCAHTOA. Evaluate what do we have. Your reference angle is 35, which makes x the opposite because it's across from your reference angle. 50 is across from the 90, that's your hypotenuse. Opposite hypotenuse tells you what kind of trig function to use. Again, you're going to use the trig function, the specific trig function of your angle equals opposite over hypotenuse. You'll be able to cross multiply and solve. In 5A and in 5B, these look pretty good. Kind of looks like you flip-flopped A and B. And in fact, I really like your work here in 5A, the way that you have it written. So we'll take a look. I believe that's really 5B because you're using 46 and 44, which is the right way to do it. And you're doing the right thing by trying to use law of sines because you have an angle and a side you're looking for across from it, and you have an angle and a side across from it, which tells you to use the law of sines, which is the sine of angle A over the side across from it, little a, equals the sine of angle B, divided by the side across from it, which is little b. So you had the right idea to do 46, but it's not over 98 because the side across from 46 is not 98. If you do sine of 46, it needs to be over x. And then the other one needs to be the sine of 44 over 98 because, again, 98 is across from the 44. So sine of your angle divided by the side across from it, sine of your angle divided by the side across from it. You have two angles, you have two sides. You're close on that one, just set it up, and I think you'll get the right answer. On the other one, we're going to use the same law of sines. Okay, you have your angle and the side across from it, and the angle and your side across from it. So again, the sine of your angle divided by the side across from it equals the sine of your angle divided by the side across from it. Set it up and try to solve. Lastly, in number 6, we cannot use the law of cosines because we don't know another angle. You're using 87 here. 87 is not an angle, it's a side length. So if I set up this problem or draw it out, to the best of my ability. I have some kind of lake here, and I'm walking a path around it. So I start on one side of the lake, I walk 95 meters, then I walk 87 meters to the other side of the lake, and I'm looking for the distance across the lake. If I label my sides, I have 95 as my first walk, I have 87 as my second walk, and I have the angle being 60 degrees. What I'm looking for is this distance across from the lake, which is C. This is a non-right triangle, so you need to use the law of sines or the law of cosines, and in fact, in this one, you need to use the law of cosines. I know it's a law of cosines problem because it's a non-right triangle, and I have one angle between two side lengths I know. And so the law of cosines, again, is C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2 times A times B times the cosine of angle C. Plugging in our numbers, the ones that are really important to us is that the angle C, angle big C, is the one angle they're giving you. So in this problem, it's 60. The side across from your angle is your little c. So in this problem, we don't know little c. And in most problems, we don't know little c. So I get c squared still because I don't know it. I get to call the other two side lengths A and B. I'll call 95A. I'll call 87B. You could flip-flop those. A and B are kind of interchangeable. They're just your two side lengths. So plugging in, I would have 95 squared plus 87 squared minus 2 times your A, which is 95, times your B, which is 87, times your angle, the cosine of your angle C, which is 60. Now from here, make sure you follow your order of operations to see if you can come up with the right answer. Your order of operations is PEMDAS. You start with parentheses. There is no parentheses here, so you're going to do exponents, then your multiplication, and then finally at the end addition and subtraction, and you should come up with your right answer. Make sure you work through those corrections again, try to get the right ones, and if we're able to get the right ones, we can do the retake.